So guys, just the weekly outlook for obviously the three pairs. So EU starting off from a bit of a higher time frame at the moment. Still really high up in this bullish leg, but price is clearly starting to work its way back down, getting some nice mitigations into breaks. We've had just price step up, induce up the high here, do an internal break and start to step its way down. So really for the week, just looking to follow with this bearish momentum at the moment, at least looking for price to come down into here, inducing that low into there will be really, really clean. Obviously, this is the pullback that led to this breaker structure, so quite a significant area. So yeah, really just wanted to see price come down into there and then starting to look for buyers back up. Got obviously a lot of bullish targets that we can come to as well. So that looks really clean. Basically for, I guess, intra-session, we've had price, like I said, come up and induce to the high, do a little internal break here. It's a very, very minor, very insignificant internal break. However, just understanding that this is our bearish leg that we're currently in. Price has done a real deep retracement, induced, and then had this push down. It's quite clear that we can use that as an internal break. So if we get price stepping up a little bit, coming into here, selling back down, will be really clean. But we may find it just continues to push its way back down. Buying out of here is pretty weak and insignificant now, just given how far it has retraced its way back up. But that's really going to be the plan for EU, is to try and just follow with this bearish momentum. AU is really, really fucking clean. So AU, we've obviously got this bullish leg. Prices, again, same as EU, way up the top, but very cleanly having breaks on the way back down, mitigating really nicely on its way down too. So it looks really clean to keep following with this momentum. Target some of these points down here. Don't think it'll come all the way down here, just given how bullish it is, but looking to at least come and target the inducement of this, come into there, and then look for buyers back up. AU actually had a really clean setup today mid-Asia session. So we had obviously this inducement into that mitigation, which led to this internal break, come right the way back up, mitigate, and then it actually gave a very tight entry, but actually quite a clean setup. So you had the mitigation into a break, induce, very, very, very compact two leg, which is well and truly smashed the 1 to 5. So yeah, that was really tidy, but more or less just looking for it to continue stepping down. Now, get an inducement of this. Obviously, once we get an inducement there, it's going to make sense for price to buy back up and create a lower high, or we can try and sell it once it comes obviously back up if we can't catch the buy, and just keep following with that momentum.
Beautiful. Awesome. GU. Now, GU is actually very, very clean on the high time frame, just like EU and AU. Pairs are actually stepping down quite nice. Last week, we'd come into this top hourly point, done a mitigation, and then done an internal break of structure to the downside here, but we reacted off an extreme to continue bullish. So we are in between ranges on GU at the moment. But ideally, we've got some liquidity pools to target. So we can actually use that to create our structure and form our bias, coming into this week. We have got this liquidity pool up here that, may, coming into London, come and induce this high where we can get a sell to target possibly retail liquidity and or come back to the extreme of this 15-minute leg here. So we've got that option, which lines up with EU quite nicely as well. Or what we can do is, knowing that we've got that liquidity there, we are in a bullish 15-minute range. We could just see price coming into London, step its way down, take out that liquidity, take out all the traps and so on, and come into the extreme here, which is actually a really good spot to then buy and continue that momentum to the upside. And then the third option is one we probably won't catch as it happens, is price just trickles its way down through on Monday, coming into Tuesday, and comes into this really, really clean hourly point that it actually created this push here, which would be very, very nice to catch a buy out of and continue with that momentum to then target that liquidity to the upside. So that's basically the options. Ideally, it would have been nice to come into this point, which lines up with EU, not in the middle of Asian session, but unfortunately it has. It didn't actually break to the downside or internally or anything. So we are still bullish from here to here, and then externally from this high to this low. But just understanding that, coming into last week, we had reacted out of this point. This point does hold a lot of weight. So we can either come take this high and react out of this point up here, or like I said, come down to this hourly point. So coming today, intra-session, like I said, we want price to ideally trickle down. I'm not looking to buy anywhere out of these points in here. This didn't actually do anything in price. All it's done is just create internal points. We ideally want all of this absolutely smoked and use that liquidity, possibly come and buy out of the bottom extreme point here. If not, price will keep trickling its way up, which I see as a big complex pullback, especially with that impulse being to the downside. Take out that liquidity to the upside, get an entry model, and then come target all of this later and continue with that bearish momentum out of this supply point here. So that's the two options. Where it is now, there's not much we can do. We've got to kind of wait for it to come and take this liquidity out or this liquidity out and then go from there. So it could be, coming into Monday, waiting for that to happen.